there's a couple faults that we do in spey casts that look similar, a tailing loop and a collision loop, but they're different, and there's different things that cause them. If you're a single-hander, you probably know what a tailing loop is, and it's often caused by just applying too much power in that forward cast. So in that forward cast, I applied too much power. What happens is your rod overloads, and then when it unloads, it doesn't, your rod's not on that plane, the tip of your rod's not on that plane, it comes under it. It's called a concave rod path. And so what happens is my line follows, and what happens is my line either collides with my rod tip or collides with the line as a result of that. And that can happen in spey casting as well. And then there's what's called the collision loop. And the collision loop happens when you break the 180-degree rule. And so if you're not familiar with the 180-degree rule, watch that 180-degree rule video. But the 180-degree rule states that your D-loop and forward cast have to be opposite of each other. And if they're not, you might get a collision loop. So if I'm aiming, there's a bright bush across the river, if I'm aiming at that bush, or should be aiming at that bush, that's my target. So my D-loop, I drive my D-loop opposite of that target. And if I don't go at that target, say I go upstream of it, what happens is my line has to come around and then track this way, and it will collide with itself in the air. It might even hit your rod tip. And they look kind of similar, but they're not. They're caused from different things. So see if we can do a collision loop here. So I should be aiming at that bush, but if I aim upstream, oh, beautiful. So instead of aiming here, which was opposite of my D-loop, I aimed there, and my rod came around, or my line came around, and boom, hit my rod trying to get on that target, because the line goes where your rod tells it, okay? So that, you know, it rarely hits your rod, but when it does, you know you really screwed it up. Typically what will happen is it'll collide with your line in the air. So tailing loop is typically too much power on that forward cast, and it will catch itself. Collision loop is breaking the 180-degree rule, and it will collide with itself. It'll look similar, but it is different. So as you're casting, be aware of those things, and try to identify what the fault is so you can fix it.